Hello, how's it going? My name is Otto and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about this. This is the Zhiyun Crane 4. It is the new upgraded version from the Crane 3S. A great gimbal, but many people felt that it was too heavy to use. So the new Crane 4 has been modified to have a more traditional design, and most likely because of that, it is lighter than the previous generation. But the big arms and the motor strength will let this gimbal have a similar payload. But this is not a gimbal for everyone, so in this video, I will talk about the pros and cons of the Crane 4. This video is not sponsored. Zhiyun sent me this gimbal to test it out, but they're not allowed to say anything here. Pro number 1, the Crane 4 has these big arms and strong motors, and this means that this gimbal can support heavier cameras and lenses. I have been using my Sony a7 IV with a 24 to 105mm lens from Sony with a shotgun microphone and ND filters, and it felt a bit overkill to use them with this gimbal, but I was able to feel that the Crane 4 had no issues moving the camera around in a smooth way. With that being said, con number 1 is that the Crane 4 is big and quite heavy. The gimbal alone is barely under 1.7 kilos, and if you add the new sling handle, the new grip support, and the tripod, we are looking at 2.2 kilos. Using a gimbal like this one can be fatiguing after a while, and for that reason, this is not a gimbal that you would love to carry around every day unless you really have to. Pro number 2, the Crane 4 now has the same grip support and handle that they introduced with the Gimbal 3S. The grip support is going to be useful when you tilt the gimbal forward, and this will make the whole system feel like it's not so heavy. You can adjust the position to fit your arm by turning this knob over here, and it does have a nice soft rubber material. The handle is on the left side of the gimbal. You can unlock and move it to these two positions. Over here, it can be used as a second handle that will help to make your movements smoother and more stable. If you move the handle all the way back, it will allow you to use the Crane 4 on a briefcase position, which is great for mid to low angle shots, for example. The height of the handle can also be adjusted by unlocking this piece over here, and at the top there is a 1/4 inch thread hole if you want to use a small light or some kind of accessory like a camera monitor. Con number 2, the handle is exactly the same than the one that the Gimbal 3S has. So here on the Crane 4, it feels a bit thin in proportion to the size and weight of this gimbal. Now the Crane 4 is a premium gimbal, and in my opinion, this handle should have a more ergonomic feel, but I'm not sure if that would be possible without adding extra weight. Pro number 3 is the improvement that they made to this gimbal, where you can switch the camera to a vertical position by unlocking and removing the entire plate below the camera and then placing it back, as you can see in this video. And what I like the most about this is that you don't need to remove the camera. Pro number 4, this gimbal has a new type of integrated fill light, and it comes with this small diffuser. This has to be the brightest light I have seen on a gimbal. It has 10 watts of power, it is dimmable, it is bicolor, and you can change the color temperature from 2700 to 5500 Kelvin. Pro number 5, on the front panel there is a color OLED display that is touch enabled. It feels responsive and the menus are easy to navigate. On the screen, you're going to be able to see the status of the gimbal and the battery level. You can select the gimbal mode that you want to use, change or customize different settings, and start the gimbal calibration as well. Pro number 6, in terms of stabilization, this gimbal feels solid and consistent. The videos that you're going to get with this should be smooth and stable enough. I feel that Zhiyun has been doing a good job with the stabilization system, and this applies to their latest gimbals. Pro number 7, I like that the battery level indicator shows the actual percentage instead of just an icon. The battery on the Crane 4 will last for about 12 hours, and it fully charges in less than 2 hours using PD charging. Con number 3, The battery on the Crane 4 is not replaceable like it used to be on the Crane 3S. Something else that I don't like is that there is no way to check the battery level when the gimbal is off. I don't think that there is anything more annoying than having to set up the gimbal and then turn it on just to know how much battery power you have left. Okay, so now pro number 8, the control wheel is customizable and you can set it to manually move the tilt, the pan, or the roll axis. If you connect the gimbal to your camera with a USB-C cable, you will be able to use the record button and set the wheel to change the aperture, the shutter speed, the ISO, or to zoom in or out. You can also connect the camera to the Crane 4 via Bluetooth, and this is supposed to replace the cable connection and do everything that I just mentioned. But here is where con number 4 comes in place. I was able to connect my Sony a7 IV to the Crane 4 using Bluetooth, but I was only able to use the record button but not the control wheel. It's actually a bit odd because the Vivo 3S didn't have this problem, so I'm going to guess that Zhiyun will fix this with a firmware update. Con number 5. The Crane 4 has a new kind of low-profile quick-release plate that goes on top of their traditional plate. I like this new design, but this plate is not Arca Swiss compatible. The Crane 4 is not going to be for everyone, and that's the reason why Zhiyun has these two other gimbals. And I do feel that they are very similar in many ways, but choosing one or the other will mostly depend on the weight of your camera. The M3S is a small gimbal that will support cameras up to about 1 kilo, with the advantage that you can also use an action camera or a smartphone. The Vivo 3S is a medium-sized gimbal that has a maximum payload of about 2 kilos. And for anything heavier than that, the Crane 4 is going to be a good choice if you don't mind about the size and weight of this gimbal. So it's time to say goodbye. Give this video a like if you're having an amazing day. My name is Otto, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Peace!